Okay, we're heading into the più mosso del tempo primo, measure 92 of the Prokofiev Sixth Sonata, first movement. We're not there yet. We have a little transition to go. Roughly measure 86 or so. Anyway, it's preceded by around measure 83. It goes like this. This ostinato that started. Actually, it started all the way back at 74, 75. So, okay, hard to read this chord. Because the the lines are swimming on me. Let's see. Yeah, that's a B on top. So that's a B, half diminished, seventh. Okay, now I know. And I've got to get out of my way. From A to A. Well, it should be non-legato anyway. So, to make this work, I'd already indicated a second finger on 77 on the downbeat. It's silly to indicate that without having indicated the fifth finger on the tritone just before it. Excuse me, on the perfect fourth just before it. That's the fingering I want, but I wrote it in the wrong place, so, or at least I indicated the starting fingering. Let me say this another way. I didn't indicate the starting fingering, so I had to look at the top of the page and see, ooh, 2, and then look back. So what I'm going to do is mark the significance of that A, because I was going 4, 3, 2, 1, then 5, 2. The question being, of course, why would I play 3 if I'm going to use 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2? Why don't I just go to 4? So let's see. See, we're going back to 74 at the very end. The A is tied, thumb note. Tied, that's good. Now the third is obviously what I chose because it's by far the easiest to get to. Keeps my right hand away from my left hand as much as possible, and it's the perfect fit for these two black notes followed by the white note, thumb. So, gotta get off. No, didn't get the tie. The tie can't just be what I think, it's got to be what I feel physically. So, a pivot on the thumb, a swing back down to the keyboard is what I need. Take advantage of the time I have to find my B diminished chord, the B half diminished chord. Okay. Fifth and low. And I have to go. Fifth and look. There's the coordination. gets in the way. So I'm going to keep with 4 and 3. 4 coming up. I didn't get off my A. 4 coming up, let go. 5th. Okay. Those were the right instructions. Let go. 5th finger. Look. Let go. Okay. Interference between the hands. Oh yes. What we were doing before I broke. Reminding myself of white note, black, black, black. And then diminished, minor. Diminished, minor, diminished, minor. Whoops. There is one black note among the 5th finger notes, among the bottom notes. Chromatic. Sorry. The whole tone there. Let me relate this to what I do. This is half step, whole step, half step. This is whole step, half step, whole step. In the 2 hands. What can you do? So, let's see where I was. I've written. Now move left hand. Move it over. That's a little awkward. That's a lot of. So I'm here. Very complicated. Let's see if that's really legitimate. Has to come from underneath. And what if I were over? I'm going to get pinned down right away. Too bad. What if I came over, coming over These silly notations I used up and down, they're such non-traditional things I didn't even know how to react to them. So, over or sopra, and sotto, and sopra. That way anyone can read them. Over, under, over. May seem complex, but it's actually the most comfortable. Of where I'm placing myself. If you've ever tried this and locate the right finger, it's that kind of feeling. I need to locate where my right hand thumb is going on A. And then followed by E in the left. That's it. And so often what happens in bad practicing is when you don't isolate enough. In this case, I needed to isolate that experience. I was wasting my time not. A to E, then, whoops. My mind with an instruction that was at least delivered a measure early, so that is not useful. Here I want the A, E. A, E. Finally. A, E. Compressed hand position, so it's not what my hand would embrace immediately. Therefore, for now at least, I need a little mental involvement in anticipating that slightly compressed hand sensation. That's what it needs. Just a little bit of extra awareness of what I'm about to feel. fifth, E flat, F, so I'll have a fingers left over for B and D on 86. So octave, 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 1, 4, 5, 1, 4, no. I see. Getting to thumb in my left hand takes actually letting go. Let's decide if it's worth it. I'm going to go 5, 2, 3, 1 in the right, so I don't have to think at all about it. 4, 5, 3, 4, 1. Let's see. For my hand, I'm going to adjust it to 5, 3, 4, 1. It will make for a much more controlled movement to the 8. 5, 2, 3, 1. Just a little less organic, a little less comfortable. So a little more control. Is that really right? That cannot be right. 1. I'm going to count quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1 and 2. Very poorly spaced on the page. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Ah. 2, 3, 4. Okay. 1 and 6. Well, 1, 2, and 3. And the F sharp comes in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 1, 1, and 2, and 3. It doesn't look anything like that because of the placement on the page. So it's one of those places where you have to take responsibility for the durations of the notes, not the way they're placed on the page at all. So I'm going to add little eyeglasses, just as an indication, or I can circle. Okay, here's where, before the break, I remembered I needed to be able to rely on the fingering I've worked out. Let me find out what it is. 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2. Okay. See, I didn't mark enough. I just assumed that my standard fingering for a 3-note repeating 3, 2, 1 would be what I went to. But I thought 2, 1, 4, 3, 2. So 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2. Fourth finger on the A sharp pin down by the thumb on 90. 4, 3, 2, 4, 3, 2, 4, 3, 2, 4, 3, 2. much simpler just to look at what you're doing, especially when you're using the same fingering but in completely different topological instances. Whatever fingers are left over, 2, 3, 1, maybe. And the left hand is going to take over the tie, the A. Okay, finally I made it to più mosso del tempo primo. So seemingly innocuous things can often be tricky. Più mosso del tempo primo. Okay, let's see. We were in a faster tempo already at più mosso. Let's see, all of this developmental material looks to benefit from being in 2 rather than 4. There's just so much repeated note figuration, arpeggio figuration, nothing that would tend to demand lots of 4/4. I do get the A motive coming in, we do much later. I'm curious. I mean, it's such an extended form. Allegro moderato doesn't come again till 218. This whole extended section, by far the biggest section of the piece, is with this indication più mosso del tempo primo. So I think I'm just going to have to find what's comfortable and what works. It starts off pianissimo also. It's going to be hovery, full of figuration. It's going to require long lines to avoid becoming bogged down by its own figuration, its own simplicity. Fleshing it out. Not till 117 that we get the A motive, again. So, let's learn some of this. So, we had this. 77. Not to mention the B, of course, which is the extended sense of something that's not C. We get B reiterated all through this whole section. B, B, B. I still see it, a presence of B as late as 150, 151. Oh, 152, 3, 4. And finally, it's gone. It's dissipated. But that's a long pedal point. So, against that backdrop, we have other things. Lots of mixtures of seconds and thirds, minor thirds especially. Okay, and I've worked out what seems like a reasonable fingering. 1, 2, 3, 4 to the F sharp, 1, 3. Is this always a 7? And a canon. A canon at the 7, the major 7th. Interesting. It would have been easier. What I've been doing is to just hold on to the last note of the right hand of the top voice. But actually, Prokofiev demands that you reiterate that while the other voice is coming in. So, too bad. Actually, I'm going to take advantage of the fact that he stings the first of 2 notes, because the rebound on that 7th, E flat D, will be lighter. So I'll be able to sting the thumb and then. Does it once, pure, which is to say, up and down with nothing changing. Second time down. Slides down that half step. So meanwhile, the left hand has been holding on to this chord. Let's pretend we're holding. Well, here you actually get a legitimate F sharp minor chord. Of course, there's a C natural against it. Okay, same kind of spacing. Is this B, D, A, D, F, C. So, just transposed up a third. So we have dialogue on C's, from C to shining C, as it were. Same repeated note. The difference is that the second time, instead of on A, on C, it's also mezzo piano instead of pianissimo. I did write thumb here, I wonder why. The first time I have an automatic second because of the A flat. This is I think it's still better to put second there, at least initially. I can always move to thumb. So the different fingering to suit this diminished chord, E, E, G, E flat, so 1, 2, 3, 4 there. So I need 2, 3. So there's absolutely no reason to to need the thumb on B. I don't know why I wrote it. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. How about that? 2, 2, 2, 2, then the diminished chord. Whoops. It doesn't stay at legitimate diminished chord for long. It's done. F minor with a major 7th here, something like that. At least that's what I'm going to grab. Or so diminished chord now. Then and that will be both hand position wise and in terms of learning the notes. Separate. This standard diminished chord, then the major 3rd. So I have this minor chord with a augmented chord stacked on top of it. So that signaling myself that I shift for the F is important. That's it. Now, whether or not the fingering 2-3 works is what I should be doing at the bottom. I'm torn. Because 3-1 works nicely. 3-2. I want 1 on the bottom because the white note invites it. 3-1. So. 1. I'm perfectly happy coming up the first time with 2. I'm already there. 3-1. Yes. How many times do I do this? Yes, and the 1 when we get out of there. Goes up 3 times, okay. This is the sort of passage that's relatively repetitive, relatively easy, and definitely benefits from memory, or at least visual orientation to the keyboard. There's all this jumping around. So, I've got to figure out where I'm going. First of all, there, then A flat C, way up there. Then A flat C, and again. Okay, it's consistent. I didn't even realize that. So. Reinforcement, the A flat C, it's already in the right hand. Sorry. A quarter note. And this is just an 8th note, so. indication is not quite exact because the right hand releases. Left hand holds on. So added to which the right hand accents the C. Added to which the left hand doesn't play, well, it plays the B differently and it only plays it once. It's the same motive that the left hand played, bagpipe played before. Now it's the right hand diminution and holding. So twice. 2, 3. Okay, we're on to 11. Grace note, 2 grace notes, A flat C, that get held. Okay, the B theme. Well, we've had elements of B theme da 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 all along. But here, it finally is melodic again, or more legato, and he writes mezzo forte to isolate it from the piano in the right hand, and he writes espressivo, so lots of indication. It's regained some of its old identity. Now, how to do that? Again, one of those decisions. It's not earth-shattering. Not earth-shattering, but it makes a difference. By having my thumb already available, because 2 is the top note, top finger currently, just puts me a little more at my ease. I want to compare that. So you get falling perfect 4th, 5th, coming right back up to it. Here we have falling tritone, coming up beyond, higher than the F transforms into F sharp. So it's significantly more dramatic and sinewy. But physically, one nice thing, it's white to white, then to black. So it has physical identity. Okay. Counterpoint, it's of secondary significance. He wants the melody to sing through the texture, cut through it. Nice clashes. I'll remind myself of turning to the thumb. Mezzo forte. that extra note in the top voice. That rebound. So I've got to make that automatic because I'm still fighting it. There's our famous B. So F sharp. Okay, we have the F sharp already. That's good to know. That can't be right. Question is now, he hasn't shown a hand redivision. If I play it the way it's written, in other words with the distribution of clefs to hands as is usual, with the top one being the right hand, then it would be right hand actually. That's correct. So, right hand goes over. I'm just hacking my way through it just to get a sense of the gymnastics, the choreography. I was on fourth finger. For me to recognize that the right hand B's are only half notes. There's plenty of time when I need to move out. So always F sharp A, the initial one. Well, not always. In this case, on 120, it's just the major third. And then when it has a preliminary, then it has the F sharp, the minor third. So, minor third, B, off. Okay, so when we have this augmented version of the B theme, structurally everything simplifies because no matter what else is chattering around, the completion of the melody is our prime focus. So it's also written forte, so there's no doubt all this other stuff is utterances in support. They're all straightforward. Originally on C, now A major certainly has tinges of A major. Still with lots of B involved. Now, before, however, there's plenty of fragmentation, so the thing I will have to do is to make sense out of it. In other words, what the recurrences are, what the patterns are, why Prokofiev might have been doing what he's doing. I don't presume to know that I know, or I can figure out what Prokofiev was thinking, or how he structured it. I can only react to the structure I see and make sense of it for myself. That's all anyone can do, unless they talk to the composer. And sometimes you'll discover, if you know a composer, that the way you see the notes and connect with the notes may be dramatically different from the way they initially created them, or chose them. So if I left out all the A motives, let's see what I would have. Well, first of all, this long passage starting. On 111, I have the eighth note version of the B theme, imitation. Then the long, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 bar bar measure. He does the same treatment, but the second time he doesn't have the left-hand espressivo statement in the, of the melody. He just has the fragmentation. So then he brings that back. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4-bar phrase. All right. I'll mark it. No imitation this time. No canon. He doesn't even complete it. Well, he never completed it there either. It was just that little head of the theme. There it recurs at 123. Okay, haven't yet made sense out of it. It'll come, but I'm in description mode. In other words, without a sense of eureka or whatever, I'm just noticing what I see, and articulating it verbally. So, we're at 118. Well, it should be noted, it's interesting to me that when the A motive comes in at 116, going into 117, that's the first time, to my knowledge, that he really combines the A motive of the A theme with the B theme. So that's interesting in and of itself. We have elements. First came. So, big isolation. One measure fragments. So, that compressed, diminished version, and then finally just the little 3-note fragment. I don't think we have that here. We have the isolation, and that happens several times. The isolation with the 1, 2. Only this is twice as isolated. It's augmented, I guess. Same speed of production of the 16th notes, but the distance from the F sharp A is one more quarter note word. Of left-hand finger. That worked. want to overplay all of that because there's so much of it. And Prokofiev is being, I think, quite selective in how he voices things. So when I go all the way back to 111, for example, this is all light. Mezzo forte, mezzo piano up here, reiterated note, mezzo forte for the A motive. And it just says mezzo forte, it seems generic. In other words, spread across everything, perhaps, but whoops. Going from 2-3 to 4 to 4s. It's a little unexpected. Maybe I'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2. Instead, shifting to 4, this will sound a little strange, requires too much consciousness. I don't want to have to go, oh, now I'll shift to 4. I would rather have it just under my hand. 1, 2, 4. Okay, I'll do that. I want the 4 on 131. I don't need the 4 before 1, 4. I may go on 133 to 1, just because it's easier to get there. 4, 3, 2, 4, 3, 2, 2, 1, and 32, 3, 4, 5. 5, 5, 2, 1, 5. That's easy. Okay. Back to 124, the end of 124. Whoops. A major. Okay. Clarity of texture, 134 is a golden opportunity to use a sostenuto. I've written it down. But I have to be really quick. I have to decide where. It could be after the downbeat. It could be actually after any of these Bs. I just lost my way forward. already simplify around the end of 149, but they jump around like crazy beforehand. So I've got to file this away as something I should not avoid reviewing. It doesn't hold terror for me. You know, I can do stuff like this. It's just that it has to be done to have a sense of poise throughout it. Everything is flying around like crazy, but the centering of the ideas must be really, really calm. Just like a conductor who's able to point to the primary voice and say, please sing, while everyone around in the orchestra is dancing around. So the texture should be orchestral in that sense, that the pianist cannot assimilate all these different emotional forces and try to be all of these moods simultaneously, but rather has to find a simple path through it. And that's my job right now, is to find that simplicity. So, let me go back to 125, where it seems to be starting to move forward, although I must say it's in the next page where things go crazy. So, and I need to identify my fingering here. I'm going to put thumb on the left hand G, 3.5 beat of 126. So. Fourth finger in 129, fifth finger, excuse me. Here, I didn't remind myself that I was going to be moving. So I will. Or changing fingers, in other words. Okay, let's see. These are... I really will... I know, I've mentioned this before, I'm going to get this tune sometime. It's getting more attention than it usually does when I typically work more in my studio at school. So, let's see. All of this, regardless of what Prokofiev has said, well, I think he said basically we're at mezzo forte, but it doesn't matter. Everyone would need to know that this line marked forte is the primary voice. I've got to make sure it prevents it from sounding hectic, because there's a simplicity to that cast, especially because it's augmented. My right hand F sharp, I can let go of the C sharp anytime I want. This is 133. So I should have been looking at that B a good half measure before I play it. And that calms down the whole process. But then I have to know where I am in the right hand. That has to be automated. Forward thinking a lot. I'm taking big mental breaths. It's still not sticking. I want to make sure I'm right. I am right. Well, maybe I'll go from. That's not hard. The connection is not hard. I'll go back half a measure. That's interesting. That's not hard either. Notice? It's a question of building up your nerve. It's not really. It's making more notes part of the larger scale gestures, chunking bigger. So, and behold. And not being afraid that backsliding is meaningful. It just means it needs, your solution needs more positive reinforcement. Whoa. Find the E. I'm going to tell myself to find the E by itself. I'm going to look exclusively at my left hand just to see what's going. It's a question of sometimes just looking is distracting. Sometimes it's very helpful. In this case, it really calms the process down. So it stops having a helter-skelter quality about it. Now I still need to put in a sostenuto pedal. Perspective, probably doing it at the beginning of the measure, after the C, in the left hand, will be best. Sost. So there's no sense of, uh-oh, will I ever make it? Also, I happen to have indicated a fingering to myself. 1, 4, 3, 2. So that separates out the C from the B's by a lot. So. I think 3 on G sharp. Because it's more passive. Oh, maybe I need a sost here too. 120, 130 to get my D clear, because I'm not crazy about that texture. Crazy as can be, but it's working. I mean, it's all over the place. All right, something's cooking. Prokofiev to write a bunch of moving chords that are reasonable under the hand. Parallel, all white, all black. And then one I can grab with my fourth on the bottom, I think. That's what I've indicated. I missed it. Doesn't mean I won't be able to grab it. Just means I missed it. Whoops. Yes. This to here, this to there. Into the black notes and out. What would happen? I could. I already have third finger. Okay, don't know. I'm going to put third on F sharp here instead of fourth because it's already there and because it's easy. So I've got 4 in parentheses as a reminder that I could go that way. The question is, well, maybe I'm answering my own question. I'm just not missing, which is a sure indication that it's better than the fourth finger for now. Unfortunately, it's a little harder to get off of. Interesting. He's got reiterated A on N2, N2, N1, and then he shifts left, right, left, right. Well, okay, I'm going to quit in a second. In fact, I'm going to quit now because I ran out of time. Talk to you later.